Hi guys, welcome to another episode of It Was Never Personal. It's me, your host, Yummy Wilfred. This is It Was Never Personal with Yummy Wilfred. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I really do admire your presence. I do honor it. Thank you so much for tuning in and taking time to really take care of yourself. And like I always say, it was never personal, not only with me, because like I say, it was never personal with Yummy Wilfred, but even with you because it was never personal. It has always been about love, laughter, music, dance, colors, role playing, balance, awareness, authenticity, not taking the ego too seriously, life too seriously. It is all about realizing that this is a dream, an illusion that I get to co create with a power higher than me. It was never personal. Tune in to get inspired, motivated, and mostly importantly, find ways to love yourself and do so with laughter and joy. And like I always say, it is nothing new that you will get from this podcast, and it'll only sound new, but does it mean that you actually learned anything new? No. It may sound new only because we have forgot what we once knew. And I'm here to remind us of that which we forgot. It was never personal. It was never personal. So, I really like this idea of actually we are nothing is new nothing that happens under the sun is new, and that's very true because all the things that I get to really talk about on this podcast, especially that when I started or even right now when I'm speaking, I always try and simplify them because they can get so simplistic. It's like I can really talk about it. It's way simple, like saying, listen, it has nothing to do with you. Someone actually telling you that they like they don't like how you are talking. They don't like the way you walk. It has nothing to do with you. It is as simple as that. And because of how I feel like maybe like simple stuff are actually complicated, they're easy to misinterpret, like right now, if I say we are one, you have to realize that we are one. You and trees, me and the stone, me and you, we are one. Everything is one. Like you cannot touch this hand, this finger with this finger. And right now I feel like when I say you cannot touch this finger with this finger, someone may interpret it as me saying you cannot touch this finger of the left hand with this finger of the right hand, which is not what I'm saying over here. Because what I'm saying is that you cannot touch this finger, this ring finger of the left hand. You cannot touch it by this finger of the left hand. You need this finger or that finger of the right hand to actually touch the finger of this um left hand. So what I'm trying to say is actually simple stuff. It's easy to really misinterpret them. Like a lot of things that are actually happening, the our culture is really based on some things which we call them taboos or proverbs, or we call them what, those kind of things that actually are just like a way which we live in, and we say, "Oh, we have taboos, things that you shouldn't be doing." But honey, it was never personal. It is all an illusion. Have fun with it, play with it. Don't take it too seriously, don't personalize it. But what had happened was that because these things were too simple, I guess, I hypothesized that because these taboos that we came up with were so simple, people really took them personal. They really misinterpreted them, and a lot of things are happening. So whenever I get over here, I try and really, I don't want to make it too simple, but I really want to make it base level where you can go, "Oh, I get what you say." I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I do win, but nevertheless, I'll just keep on trying because you gotta fake it till you make it. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in, and like I said, remember, it was never personal. It was never personal. And today I'm really going to talk about a topic which I feel like it affects everyone. I feel like everyone has been affected by it. everyone. And if when I say everyone, I'm not talking about everyone, but I feel like 99.5% of us actually are really get to be affected by it, or 99.7% of us actually are affected by this. Because when I was a little boy, you know, I feel like I'm even really right now, not that I care. The difference between now and then is that I really don't care about what people have to say about me. So when I was a young boy, I was really concerned with how people, actually not just my parents, but how everybody perceives me. As a young child, I really cared about how what people think of me, what people have to say about me, what people, it was like what you say about me is true, and I have to make sure that I I I I address myself in such a way that benefits me. It's like, okay, I don't want them to think that I am ABC. So I have to do one, two, three so that they think and they say that I am DEF, because I don't want to be ABC. You know what I mean? Yeah. So in doing that, I was never really myself, and we are never really ourselves when we are kids. Why? Because we have already discovered that the moment you try and be yourself, which is actually just play. And like I always say, realizing that, because as kids we know that this is a play, this is not personal, this is just an illusion as young kids. But then somehow when we grow up, right around 3 years or whatever, I'm just really assuming, this is not really like from a research or something, right around that time, as a young child, you can really, because, and this is how we learn as young child, we observe. As young children, we observe the ways in which people react to situations. It's like when I'm young, when we are young, whenever we saw people kissing on television, we would cover our eyes and we will smile. Why are we doing it? We never really knew about, oh, this is actually we just knew that, oh, because you look at how my dad actually fringes off, or how my mom is like, like they tense, whatever, they contract, and then it's like, okay, I'm not supposed to do this, so I have to do this. And if I do this, mommy and daddy and my grandma and my grandfather, my aunts, my uncles, people in the community, the people, my teachers, they will say I am a good boy. So I said all that to say that when I was young, a lot of time a lot of times I really played a different person. Why? Because I wanted that validation, I wanted that belongingness, I wanted to be loved, I wanted love from another person, and but it wasn't worth it. I Looking back, I'm like, oh, it wasn't relatively, it's worth it, because I mean, you get to be favored. If you're in a class and you're the bright student, you get some favors, and like I was really well spoken. Like, people would say, oh yeah, Wilfred is well mannered, he is he's respectful of his elders and things like that. Even when elders actually didn't really deserve the honor and the respect or whatever, like, it's so horrible, because it's, we all know this. And then, because I was that kid who actually succumbed, or who actually aligned, or who actually gave in, to say, I'm going to really actually follow the culture. I'm going to just play in with the matrix. I'm going to do what my mom wants me to do. I'm going to do what people want me to do. What people think of me really matters. So I have to actually join into their culture, into the way they do their things. So guess what? I wake up in the morning, I clean the house, I do the dishes, I learn how to cook relatively. I'm so responsible, so much for my age, like, I'm already 12 years old. I already know how to cook. I already know how to shift the house. I am like, what? I'm like 10 years old, and I'm doing things that relatively a 16 years 16-year person doesn't even know how to do, because that is how I perceived it. It's like, listen, I have to know these things. I mean, look at how my mother reacts when he hears that, oh, Wilfred is actually, he woke up in the morning, and rather than playing or sleeping up until 12 a.m., he woke up and he was cleaning the house and he was doing one, two, three. Like, that's the boy that I love. And my mom, because I love her so much, because I want her validation, because I want her caressing and whatever, I'm like, I have to please her. And then my mom sees that, and then she's like, Wilfred is a very good boy. Because why? I am aligning to the script that she has of a good child. It's like every person has a script for every particular function a person plays. Like at school, teachers have a script which they feel like, or which they expect students to follow. It's like a student should do ABC. If they don't do it, then they are bad students. They are bad students and they are good students. Even at home, the same is actually true, because parents have this, or not even parents, but everyone, it's like there is a script that my kid has to follow. And if the kid is actually following the script, then it's a good kid. But if they don't follow the script, it's a bad kid. And because I followed the script, unlike other kids, unlike my cousins who didn't actually care about what people think or whatever, they didn't follow the script and they were labeled as bad students. Now, keep that in mind, because then now what had happened was that, because my cousins and other people, even my brothers, they didn't follow the script, there was a lot of comparison. Like, I was the reference point. It's like everybody's being compared relative to Wilfred. It's like, you woke up very late, Wilfred didn't wake up late. You don't do the dishes, Wilfred does the dishes. You didn't even clean, Wilfred cleans. You didn't even study, Wilfred studies. You didn't even pass, Wilfred passes. You sleep late, Wilfred doesn't sleep late. Like, it's comparisons. Ultimately, because I'm very sweet, I'm very kind. My people who I was compared to didn't necessarily hate me, because why? They knew that I was not actually going, Mom, look at what I'm doing, look at what they're not doing. It was not, I wasn't really looking for areas where they were going, doing something against the script. I was just focused on, oh, am I doing what my mom wants me to do? Am I doing what people want me to do? If I'm doing it, then great. I don't really care about what other people are doing. I'm just like, that's none of my business. That's fine. Now, and this, I feel like, especially in our culture, the African culture, I feel like grandmothers are very, very, as much as they're very honored, I feel like somewhere along the line we get to really something is missing, because as a young child, I was never really necessarily um abused emotionally or in any type of way. I wasn't. Why? Because, like I said, I followed the script. I was well mannered, I was kind, I was sweet. I have always learned an early age that if you want to be cared for, if you want any other thing else, you have to actually be submersive towards even people who are oppressing you. Be submersive. And then the other thing is, actually, because I know that being, if I'm kind, people will be kind towards me, then I was kind. Naturally I'm just kind. Hi, hey, I smile, whatever. But sometimes you meet people who you smile with and they don't even smile back, or they even just get so angry. So with those people, I learned at an early age, just succumb to it. Say I'm sorry even when you're not sorry. So because of that, I was not necessarily abused or whatever. But you know my grandmother, who I grew up with, she used to say nasty things about my parents. Because during the school holidays, I'll go to my dad, and I'll be left there under the guidance, or the guidance and the protection of, and the responsibility of my grandmother. And my grandmother was, she did what she can do. Yes, that's fine. I'm not disregarding the fact that she took care of me, she bathed me, she bought food and whatever. But listen, was it worth it for her to actually accept me and all of my cousins and whatever? Like, is it worth it for our grandparents or even our parents to accept us and say, we are going to be taking care of you? We are going to be actually giving you food, those basic needs, but at the expense that I can say whatever I want to say to you or to somebody who I know you care about. Like I said, my grandmother would say nasty, and when I say nasty things, honey, just exaggerate. Like go to the extreme end. She would say things about my mom, and my mom is not even there. You know, and I know that the thing is that it's like, why would at that time a lot of people would reason with me, say, but why do you care, Wilfred? Because she's not talking about you, she's talking about your mom. And I'm like, really? Oh, okay, it's fine. Back then, I didn't even know that it was never personal, so I took it personal. It's like, if she says this about my mom, it reflects on me, and I'm like, oh my God. And this is the thing. I think I only took it personal because I'm so well aware that the fact that the reason why she's saying these nasty things about my mother or my parents is because I am there. Had I not gone there, then she wouldn't have to complain about one, two, three things that my mother didn't do. I mean, and going back to the complaining thing, I mean, other parents, I know they don't do anything. They're not even indulgent or whatever. But is it is it kind? Is it kind to actually say negative things about someone's parents in front of them? I don't think it's kind. It's not, and like I said, it was never personal. I wish I knew that at an early age, because I personalized everything. And because, I mean, I'm also sensitive, and I believe that every one of us is sensitive, but I never shied away from it. So being sensitive as I am from a young age, I would literally cry. I would cry when my grandmother says things about my mom or my dad, or you know, I would literally take it personal, and I would cry because I'm like, oh my God, I caused this, I did this, right now my grandmother is fighting with my mom or is saying negative things about my mom because of me. I was taking it personal. But then later on, right now at this moment, I understand it was never personal. It had nothing to do with me. Now, did it have anything to do with my mom or my dad? No. What my grandmother said, had nothing to do with my mom, my dad, or me. It had everything to do with her. It's like it's like reading the comments on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or whatever. It has nothing to do with you. And at an early age, we don't get that. Why? Because we are not taught that. Therefore, we'll take it personal. You will think, because I used to think, oh my God, she hates my mom. She hates me. But honey, no, she didn't hate me. She doesn't hate me. She doesn't even hate my mom. She hates herself. Yeah, my grandmother hates herself, and I'm saying it right now, and I'm not saying it in a sassy or in a like diminishing way. It's just what it is, because like I'm saying, whatever that you have to say about someone has nothing to do with them, but it actually has everything to do with you. Because, first of all, your perception, which you project onto someone else, starts all up in here. And in here, I mean in the herd. Because you think about it and you identify with that thought, and you think that you are right, you are righteous, therefore you have the right to say whatever you want to say. But honey, no, you're just projecting your self-loathing, the pain that you feel inside, onto someone else. It's like you are hating yourself, but only through other people. Why? Because you cannot hate yourself through you, because doing that, you would actually have to be present and admit that, oh, actually, nobody is to blame. I am to blame. I am doing this to myself. you know I mean, and right now I'm just like, I'm 20 years, and I'm like really looking back, and I'm like, you know I feel sad. I feel sad for my grandmother, because I'm like, what actually had happened? What had happened? What really caused her to be like that? Because what I know is, hurt people hurt people. Why? Because, and this saying, I think a lot of people, like I would say, um, simple things are always easy to misinterpret, but let me break it down for you. Because when we say hurt people, we are not saying that if somebody slaps me, I am going to slap another person. No, 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 no. That's not what I'm saying. Because imagine, like a lot of kids have been abused when they were young, but they grow up to be this very caring and very loving persons. And then on the other hand, abused kids can tend to be like very destructive and very abusive too. You know, that's another way it can go. But when we say abused people abuse, oh yeah, abuse people, or hurt people, is that when you are like, when I was young, I took everything personal. So it's like, oh my god, they hate me, and I believe that, and I pour that into my psyche, into who I am. And then, because that's what I have, and I'm pouring into myself, and I'm really actually taking it personal. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm blaming my grandmother. Oh, she did this to me. But actually, I did that to myself, because I took it personal, and I'm pouring that onto my cup. And when I meet other people, what I pour onto their cups, or what I pour out to them, or what I give them, is actually what I have within my cup. Which, if it's self-loathing, then I give that. So what I'm saying is that the reason why my grandma, excuse me, the reason why my grandmother, or anybody in particular that you interact with, is actually being negative and coming across as if they hate you, when in actual fact they hate themselves and they're negative towards themselves. It has nothing to do with you, it has everything to do with them. Why? Because they are hurt. They are in pain. It's a call for consent. It's a call for love. Rather than actually going, oh my God, I hate my grandmother. I don't love her so much. Like trying, because like when I start doing, I hate my grandmother, and start really saying negative things about her and whatever, what I'm doing is actually portraying that thing of hurt people. Why? Because the thing, or another way of putting it is, oppressed people take the behavior of their oppressor. My grandmother, this occurs when, on an instance where my grandmother says negative stuff to me, and then in return I say negative stuff to her about her. And my ego will be so justified to say it, because it's like, oh no, she did this. Like, did you hear what she said about me? She's so mean. She's so and then I start saying ugly things about her. Why? And from my point of my perspective, or my point of view, I'm very justified, because I'm like, she actually did this to me. Like, what she did was wrong. I'm introducing that judgment. And I'm like, oh, I feel very justified to say negative things about her. But really, actually, we are doing the same thing. We just hurting each other. It's like two wars between, it's like wars between two nations. And then it's like this nation actually thinks that when one nation is attacked, and then that attacked nation actually responds with what attacked too. They believe, the illusion is that them fighting will bring peace. You cannot do that. Like, if you stab me, and I say, okay, I'm going to stab you because I'm doing this so that we can have peace, so that I can be healed. No, honey. We can It doesn't do like that. So my when somebody actually says negative things about me, I don't have to respond with negativity to them, because that will not end the negativity won't end. You do not respond to negativity with negativity if you want to heal negativity. You would only respond to negativity with positivity if you want to do what? A destructive um interference. So that's what we are talking about over here. It's just energy. But let me not swell over to the left. Let me come back. So what I was saying was that my grandmother is so hurt, and I feel like a lot of grandmothers are hurt. They are so hurt. And because they are so hurt, what they do is that, as young children, as young kids, they, because I mean grandmothers wouldn't, but I mean other grandmothers would do it. They would actually project their pain into the little kids, where they hit them, they slap them, they do horrific things. And or if they don't actually hit them, because I feel like right now is better because we have children's rights. Now they cannot hit them, but what can they do? They will do what? They will emotionally abuse them, they will verbally abuse them, they will um psychologically abuse them. If they don't do it to them, they will do it to them through their parents, where they actually um emotionally abuse their parents, emotionally abuse the kids' parents, psychologically, verbally. They say nasty things about a parent. Because, and the thing that happens is that to a kid, to a young child, you are painting this very horrific, hideous picture of their parent, someone who brought them to this life, and again, it's just, it just doesn't even make sense, because looking at it again is like you are even saying those things about your daughter, about your son, you know, and in doing so, you are hurting their son or their daughter. It's how actually generational curses get to be passed on. Like curses gets to be, and when I say a curse, I'm not talking about uh voodoo things and whatever. I'm just talking about simple things. How when my grandmother, who is in pain, is now transferring her pain to my mother, and my mother is going to transfer her pain to me. And if I'm not conscious, meaning that if I take it personal, I'm going to transfer that pain from me to my kids, and my kids, if they're not conscious, if they are not present, if they take it personal, they're going to uh m- pass on that pain that they got from me onto their kids. So it's from my kids, it's like from my grandchildren to my so my grandchildren took it from my children, and my children took it from me, and I took it from my mom, and my mom took it from my grandmother. It's generational curse. That's just that. And I'm saying this because I see it every day, even within my own family. I see it every day and whatever. And luckily, I'm at a point where I don't give a fuck. And I'm saying a fuck not in a way of like no. I'm just saying it as it is. I don't give a shit. What you say about me has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you. And if anything, I'm so in I look to you with compassion. I look to you in pain, and I feel pain for you, because I'm like, oh, I wonder what had happened to you for you to be so negative. Because I know that we are actually at the core of our hearts, we are sweet, we are sensitive, we are kind, we are loving. But we experience things that actually change or make us feel like life is hard. Life is so unfair. Life is so unbearable. Life is painful. And because we believe that, then we are just like giving it all out, because that's what we have within us, So if anything, right now, I don't give a fuck, but still, I'm like, if you start saying negative things about me, honey, I'm going to find a way to not stay around you. And I've been so blessed, because my mother has she's sensitive, she's very sensitive. And by that, she's able to forgive. She's a very forgiving person. She's not perfect, don't think like that. She's not perfect, but she's very sensitive, she's very forgiving, easy to forgive, like instantly. A lot of things have happened to her, people have wronged her, people have done whatever, like the world has nearly given her enough reasons to go fuck you, but she still said, no, I love you. And because of that, I don't like with her, I know that I'm free. All of us have. And this is, like right now, my mother is not that type of mother to say, she doesn't give you, she, for sure, she has a script for kids, and I feel like her script is like, what type of child is Wilfred? Oh, Wilfred is this. So I'm going to actually expect this from Wilfred because Wilfred has been doing this. Oh, Wesley's like this. Because Wesley's like this, I'm going to expect Wesley to act like this. Oh, Walter is like this. Because Walter is like this, I'm going to expect Walter to be like this. Oh, Wendy has been acting like this. So this is what I expect from Wendy. So it's like her script is actually referenced. It is inferential from what I've it is reference from what I have been. But then the trick is that the conflict comes when I'm trying to change because she's like, okay, for 14 years for 19 years, Wilfred, you've been doing ABC. Now you're not doing it. What's wrong? You're confusing me because the script that I have says Wilfred is this. Now you want to change it, then she goes, "Rrr." So I'm saying this because she doesn't actually have a script for you. So what I'm saying or what she does is she allows us to do whatever we want. Like, I can pierce my nose, I can have a tattoo, I can do whatever I want. Things that other parents would say, they will bring religion, they will bring righteousness, they will bring morality, their culture in order to protect that identity that they have, that superiority of I'm a parent and you have to actually follow through me. Because why they care about what other people think of them as a parent is like, what would people think of me if they see my son at 16 years old having a tattoo? What would people think of me when they see my son having pierced their ears when they are boys? Like, she doesn't give a shit about that. And I'm like, also, thank you, mommy, for not giving a shit because I didn't even want to give a shit because I don't even have one shit to give. So I love my mother from that perspective. She's just a very generous person. So now, what had happened is that she's allowed us to actually navigate these lives with kind of like a limited flexibility. She will allow you to do things and explore life, even though she's very, she's very sensitive. She's like, oh, are you sure you want to go out at night, Wilfred? Please don't do. Are you sure you want to sleep alone tonight? Oh, don't do that. She would call me 7 times when I'm traveling to go to her. And I'm like, Mom, I'm 20 years. Call me once or twice. It's fine. Don't call me 7 times. But it's hard. So it's like she gives us limited freedom. It's a limited flexibility kind of thing. And it's fine. It's perfect. I love it. But then what had happened, I'm saying all this because I'm trying to say from my mother, I love her because she doesn't even though she's self-aware enough to not let her trauma be passed on to us. She doesn't take the pain she felt from her mother or her grandmother or from people and pass it on to us. She's well aware to go, no, this is not right. This is not love. This is not kind. Of course, sometimes it can happen. She can trip and she can say something, but like really relatively, she's a really loving soul. She's a loving mother. I wish people had a mother like her. But I mean, then you can also say about your mother, and then I'm like, yeah, that's what I mean when I say we are one over here. The love that you feel from your mother is not at all different from the love that I feel from my mother because we are one. We are one. They are just given the same one love, the unconditional love, if you want to say that, the love of God, if you want to say the love, the true love they are giving it because it's from one source. That is what I'm saying. So actually, the episode is about to end, but I just wanted to say that about generational traumas, which are passed from one generation to the next, and to the next, and to the next. Why? Because we took it personal. Why? Because actually, our guardians are in pain. Our guardians hate themselves. Our guardians are anxious. Our guardians are pained. They are in fear. They are living in fear, and they don't know how to even deal with their emotions because guess what? They were never taught about it. And therefore, it is our responsibility to be able to teach ourselves them because, I mean, the only responsibility you have is over you. You don't even have responsibility over your kids. You don't have responsibility over, like, no, 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 no. Don't think it of as, like, okay, you can say, okay, I have kids and I have to be responsible for them for 1, 2, 3. but ultimately, the real responsibility that you have is over you, because you can do whatever you want to do, but if somebody doesn't want to, people will always do what they want to do, so I'm not here to say change your mother or your grandmother or people who are saying things to you in a nasty way. Don't You cannot change them, but you can only change your reaction towards whatever they're doing. You can change your reaction towards their negativity. It's like if they come to you and give you love, you accept it and give them love. If they come to you, give you negativity, you accept that that is what they are doing. That has nothing to do with you. It was never personal. Like I'm saying, it was never personal. So don't really take it in. If it's the negativity, just look at it and respond with love. And it's hard. It's hard. Don't get it twisted. It's hard. We can sit here and talk about how it's easy to go, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I even I myself, I always forget it. But it's a fire practice. Sometimes I forget it and I take things personal because I go, what, especially things that I go, what the fuck? You are almost 35 years old. You haven't learned anything. Like, what were you doing? What were you like? Oh, I thought. Listen, we've been through that. We've been through that. We know that that is not love. You know, that is not. That doesn't work. And you're still doing it today. Like, I thought you learned that that is not going to work. Why are you doing it today? Like, why are you? Why do you hate yourself? Why do you hate yourself? You think that I'm responsible for how you feel? Honey, no, I'm not. You are actually responsible for how you feel. So, and then when I get to really think about it and go, my ego then goes, yeah, then you have to take it personal warfare, because, and then I go, and then I get, you know I run out of sync, and then I go, oh my god, I forgot it, I took it personal, I thought that they hate me, I thought that I'm at fault, I thought that I'm negative, but actually it has nothing to do with me. They hate themselves. This Everything that they said has nothing to do with me, it has everything to do with them you know yeah, it has nothing to do with you. And only being able to really realize that, would you be able to not actually take in, soak in, suck in the negativity, you know and pass it from yourself to other people, because you can only give what you have. That is what I mean when I say I love myself. I love myself because I really do love it. And I can only give what I have, and I receive what I gave. So I only get to experience, or actually what I get from the outside, from the world, is actually something that I have within. And in spiritual context, we always say, the world is a reflection of your inner consciousness state, of your inner state. So if you are always around people loving you and giving you and being kind to you, be grateful, be of joy, because it shows that within you, you are actually joyful, you are loving, you are kind. But if you are around people, and when I say around people, I mean, like, actually, that's like constantly you're actually meeting everyone, and everyone is saying, oh my god, oh, like that complaint, they're giving you hate, you feel like people hate you, people don't like you. It's actually because that's what you have inside, that is what you gave out. But I don't I don't want to go very deep into it like that. So remember that it was never personal. Approach people with compassion, because now you realize that hurt people. So they're only actually saying negative things about you because they're in pain. And actually, it's just their own self loathing, their own self negative criticism projected towards you. It has nothing to do with you. And love yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in. Um, See you on the next episode. Thank you so much. Bye. It was never personal. It was never personal. Bye.